just put Teams on Do Not Disturb so you all know.
Hello and welcome everyone to today's Seer 365 session. We have a regular partner joining us today, our good friends at Vertex. They are joining to provide an update, both from a company and an organizational perspective, but also to talk about some of the new AI functionality that they are bringing into the solution. Very excited to dive right on in and find out what's new. So without further ado, I will hand over to the Vertex team to introduce themselves further. Over to you, Deborah.
Thanks, Rufus. As always, thrilled to be here with Seer today. We're going to talk a little bit about some exciting stuff here today. Vertex and Dynamics 365, powering the future of tax with AI and innovation. We've got quite a few updates we want to provide you with. We'll dive into our e-invoicing solution. From there, we'll kick over to the recently released new config agent for D365 FSC. We'll talk a little bit about Marketplace, and then we'll open everything up for some questions. So without further ado, let's see if we can move through here. So introductions. For those of you that have not been with us before, Pat Esposito is our Global Microsoft Director and the General Manager of our D365 business. I'm Deb Funstein. I am the Global Sales and Operations Director for the business. And with me today, I have James Karst, who is our Global Technology Manager for the Microsoft practice. And with us are Jess Krasinger, who owns the Global Channel Manager Strategy, along with Craig March, who is her partner in crime, I will say. And that team at a global level is led by Janelle Swan. So with that, Craig is a new member of our team, and I'm going to kick it over to Craig to introduce himself, talk a little bit about him, and then introduce some other new folks to the business.
Thanks, Deb. Hey, I'm Craig March. I'm one of the global channel sales managers here at Vertex, focused on Microsoft partners. As Deb mentioned, I'm a recent addition to the Vertex team. I joined back in mid-August, and I've been in the Microsoft ecosystem for several years, working with a variety of technology and consulting partners. Most recently, spent some time at a SaaS organization focused on data integration, and I'm excited to leverage my previous channel experience in my new role. But speaking of recent additions to Vertex, we had an exciting recent announcement that Chris Young joined Vertex as our new CEO back in November. Chris brings an abundance of credentials with him, including, most recently, Chris is a former executive vice president of business development, strategy, and ventures at Microsoft. He reported directly to Microsoft's CEO, Satya Nadella. And Chris also currently serves on the board of directors for American Express and Qualcomm. We're excited to work with Chris as he brings a wealth of knowledge and experience. And selfishly, we look forward to leveraging his Microsoft experience to expand our footprint in the Microsoft ecosystem so we can continue to drive additional value to our partners and our clients. Now I'd like to hand it off to my colleague, Jessica Krasinger, to talk about e-invoicing.
Excellent. Well said, Craig, and we are excited that you're here. I am Jessica Krasinger, Craig's counterpart on the channel side. We're going to talk about a topic that should be top of mind to most of us in this space, e-invoicing. And if you haven't been having this conversation about e-invoicing, just to kind of level set on what we're talking about when we say that, is really e-invoicing talks about the exchange of invoices in a digital format, which sounds lovely. But what's coming along with that thought process is a lot of mandates that are coming from a global perspective. So you as a partner, if you have customers that do have a global presence, if they're not talking about that with you or bringing it up in conversation, one of two things is happening. Either they are hiding from the truth of what's coming, or B, they're avoiding what's coming. Because this is a big deal for everybody. Those mandates, some of them are already in place, and a lot of them are coming due right at the beginning part of 2026. So when we think about helping our customers navigate these waters that can be pretty complex, these mandates are, I think, they've been moved several times from the initial announcement to now, but they're coming and they're happening now. And those organizations that aren't complying with these mandates will find themselves in sticky situations like penalties and fines and things like that. So know that if you do have those conversations with your customers, they bring them up. You don't have to be an expert. We've got folks on our staff that are available to do that. So let's talk a little bit about the solution. So I'm not going to dive deeply into this this slide, only because there's a lot of technical aspects to this. What is important for you to understand is, from an organizational perspective, when we think about a global strategy, when it comes to these taxes and mandates and things of that nature, we are handling that within one platform. So I think that's important to understand, because I think other folks have solutions, and they may force you to have sort of disparate systems where you're looking at multiple areas to be able to ensure that you are staying compliant when it comes to these elements. Our solution sits in our ecosystem, and it is built modularly. So if you only need e-invoicing, fantastic. You can leverage our solution for that. But if you do need full global capabilities, including VAT, reporting, all those types of things, it all sits under one roof from our perspective. So we're looking at this from an end-to-end perspective, and it allows you to grow with us. So as your customers evolve and grow, their business expands, they can really leverage our tools to be able to ensure that they're staying compliant as they go through that process. And the awesome thing about the solution is that we are following all the mandates that are being pushed out to the world around us. So if once this solution is in place, you can continue to add on as those mandates are launched, and they're coming, fast and furious throughout this process. We're even hearing rumors that the United States could go online at some point too. I wouldn't put money on that at any point in the very near future, but as most things happen with tax, once people start to see them becoming money generating activities, or really seeing that things start to be able to funnel money into those organizations, you can rest assured that it might come to pass here too. So Deb, next slide. Oh, go ahead.
Yes, Jessica, just on that, obviously, as we were talking about before the call, in Europe especially, across a number of different countries, these e-invoicing mandates are starting to come into force very soon, and end customers are talking about them. We have had a question in the chat. So today, sort of out of the box, which countries or regions do you currently support around the invoicing functionality?
Absolutely. Deb, can you move forward one slide?
I sure can. It might be two, but yeah.
It is two, I think. Okay, cool. Yeah. All right. So wonderful. I will preface this by saying that the solution that we have for e-invoicing can be used tomorrow for any country that has a mandate outstanding, right? We support, I think right now it's over 50 countries out of that are available in our solution. What we're showing here is the sort of the roadmap for the D365 integration. So if tomorrow you have a customer on AX, on any number or a homegrown system, they can leverage this tool for everything that's available out there in market. What we're working on from our perspective within the Dynamics community is adding countries and adding functionality to the actual D365 integration, which would allow you to plug and play and be able to leverage the tools within D365 on a much easier and straightforward scale. So you can see here from a current perspective on the left-hand side, looking at Germany, Malaysia, it's really small for me, but Belgium, Spain, France, those countries. What we're looking at are countries that have mandates that are coming immediately and trying to get those into the integration. And then we've got future roadmap on to 2026, which you can see a lot of other countries from there. But keep in mind, they're all available within the solution now. It's just we're talking about the integration into D365. So hopefully that helps. And we'll give information through the course of this and if you want us to dig deeper into this, we can without problem. Demos, deep conversations. Like I said, we've got a whole team of subject matter experts on this topic that we can always sit down and talk through anything you might be going through from that perspective.
Excellent. Thank you, Jess. Really, really good answer. And yeah, as you say, can always get in touch via email as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
Apologies for disrupting the.
Oh my God, no! Please bring the questions. It's way easy. We want to definitely be hitting on things that matter to you all that are listening to this. So thank you for that. Deb, maybe go back one slide. We'll just round out a little bit. One of the things I want to also kind of highlight is that I'm sure within the market, there's a lot of conversation around different things that you can utilize to help with the e-invoicing process. One of the things I think is important is that you really do evaluate, you and your customers really evaluate this, because it may seem like a pretty straightforward activity, but we're hearing reports of each time you have to submit one of these invoices, it can take up to 30 minutes per invoice to do it right. And keep in mind, it's different for every country. From my understanding, Belgium, pretty straightforward. France, really complicated. Germany, kind of straightforward. Poland, really complicated. So it really is going to depend on where your footprint sits in terms of what this means for your customers, for your organization, those types of things. But I do think it's important to evaluate this. And the thing about our solution that I want to really call out is that we've put into place elements to try to make this as foolproof as possible, right? You'll get immediate information back to you on whether or not the invoice was sent correctly. You'll get reporting on all of it. We're really looking at this in terms of how can we enable our customers to offload this workload as easily as possible, but ensure that their compliance is there. So you can kind of see here what we're working on from that perspective. The solution in and of itself right now, like I said, is ready to rock and roll. We're just refining it for the D365 environment as a whole. So keep in mind, like I said, we can dig into this deeper, reach out to us at any point. We'd be happy to talk to you, your customers, whatever it might be. So let's go for a little bit, Deb. One more. So what we're going to do is I'm going to turn things over to James to show you what it looks like in D365 through some screenshots, because I think hopefully it will round out and show you in your head what we're working on. But as I mentioned, the solution is really sort of dedicated to be able to give you the empowerment that you need to weather this storm. I know anytime a change like this happens, we lived through something a little bit similar than that in the United States in 2018 with the Wayfair ruling. I remember what that did to customers in terms of, impacting their day-to-day lives. This is something, not completely similar, but it will have some of those same impacts. And so we really look at the solution to be able to handle all of these scenarios, right? Visibility, automation, integration, and compliance, right? Really ensuring that you're not going to be as impacted by this as it might seem to you right now. So keep that in mind. And James, why don't I turn it over to you and you can walk through a couple of these slides just to maybe put some context behind this.
Yeah, it's always good to be able to kind of see what that's going to look like, within your environment. So, to Jess's point, right, we've built an integration to D365 specifically for e-invoicing, and our goal here is to create an easy to use user experience, plug and play type implementation that allows you to scale across all the different countries that you're selling to today or maybe selling to later. So I think these screenshots will give you a really good understanding of kind of what that workload would look like in order to support yourselves. Once you install our e-invoicing package, it'll of course add additional tables and fields and settings into D365. And the most common one is just what you see here, the connection settings, right? We need to teach the system which Vertex environment does it need to communicate to on behalf of any e-invoicing activity. So we would set this up Next screen here is at the legal entity level. The main takeaway is that you don't need to be you have in-depth knowledge of the e-invoicing formats, right, and the different fields and the schema structures and things like that. We've already done that hard work for you. You just need to tell us for each legal entity, what are those different formats that you want to standardize with. So in this case, you can see we've added our Vertex e-invoicing tab to the legal entity setup, and you just select from our receiver keys, which are relatively self-explanatory, that tells our system, okay, for this legal entity, here's the schema structure that it needs to utilize for e-invoicing. And then we have a similar setup on the next screen here for your customers. So again, on the customer setup page, we've got Vertex e-invoicing, similar settings, enable, disable, if you need to turn this on, turn it off, by customer. But most importantly, towards the right, that receiver key, that's really what is required from a technical perspective for you to select, that it's going to classify for our system which format does it need to standardize in. And then it's going to understand what data to pull, how to structure that data, and how to submit that to the proper tax authorities. And then the next screen here is really just providing you the vast insight to the receiver keys that we've defined and that we standardize with as part of our system. This is simply a dictionary. There's no setup involved here, but once you install our system, it'll auto-populate all of these. And this is how we really support the different formats within all the different countries. As you saw, I think we're up to a dozen countries here now currently for D365. We'll soon see that go up to 20, 25, and probably by the end of next year, we'll support the full country list of our platform, which is over 40 now. So, and just to kind of show you from the sales order processing experience, we've got a couple screenshots here, an example of a sales order that we're processing with 2 line items on it. Deborah, if you could click the next slide. If you go ahead and say you posted that invoice, same experience you expect to see within D365. It'll journalize that sales order. So now we've got an invoice journal with the number 000271. All this is normal process you're used to seeing. So once we switch to the next screen, you'll have insight to what we display as it relates to e-invoicing. So your users will have access to a new screen we introduce called e-invoicing documents. This is going to list all of the order invoice documents that have been processed, their e-invoicing status, and that information. So you can see now we have this most recent one for that same invoice number 271, and it's currently in the sent status. So depending on the country and the tax authorities, these can be instantaneous, or it may take just a few seconds, and it'll update. You'll be able to manage whether or not these were submitted successfully or if they failed. In the meantime, you also see here we have the technical insight. So this is important. We create that visibility within D365 because we know at some point there could be connectivity issues, and we want to know exactly what might be causing those issues. So we provide the complete XML request and the response that's happening a part of that e-invoicing transmission. And we provide that visibility here within D365 for your users to have access to if we ever need to get into details and troubleshoot. And again, just by refreshing, usually within just a matter of seconds, the invoicing status will update. In this case, it was successful. So you'll be able to track and then know for certain, yes, these invoices were processed and the e-invoicing was complete. And likewise, this screenshot is showing our e-invoicing dashboard. So not only providing visibility and insight to this information in D365, which is important, but we also have a dashboard that'll track all of this data that we call the Vertex e-invoicing dashboard. And you'll see that same invoice is posted here, and we can download any of the technical details regarding the transmissions. This is where we archive all of this data. This data also gets reconciled with your compliance reports. So for VAT returns that you're still doing on maybe a monthly basis, we need to make sure that liability matches what you're processing for e-invoicing to what you're reporting periodically. So having all of this in one dashboard and in one system to reconcile and verify, is really key for efficiencies and to ultimately just save on time and managing. So keep that in mind. We're not just providing an e-invoicing service. That's obviously key. But if you need help with automation of returns, you can do that through a singular platform. So as we've noted here, the different capabilities of the system. This is really just kind of a quick view we wanted to to showcase, but we're absolutely happy to follow up with a more in-depth or live demonstration. You can do that just reaching out directly to Jessica.
Yeah, please do, and we'll pull in the right resources to make sure we get to help you for whatever you need.
Absolutely.
Thank you both.
So, on to the next section, introducing our config agent. So as we talk about Vertex updates, we launched the invoicing support for D365 earlier this year in September. We also launched our most recent agent or version of AI, which is embedded in D365 just last month as well in October. And what we really kind of want to just understand, how do we see AI transforming our user experience, our tax integration experience? And I use this example because I think it's great. If you're familiar with tax integrations, tax technology, and you've implemented those in the past, you know that at the time that you go live, your configuration is fully up to date and aware of your business requirements and your business footprint. But likely, especially for large organizations or multinational organizations, business footprints change, or business requirements change. You start to sell new products, or you start to sell into new regions. And many times tax teams, they're smaller, they're reacting to these business changes. And it could be months before maybe you're made aware of those events. And you need to go into, in current day, you need to go into our Vertex system and update configuration with new product mappings, new locations, so on and so forth. And this is a great example. These are actually my two young kids. Took them fishing. Everything is great. The second the poles are in the water, everything is up to speed, and the kids are happy here on the edge of their seat. Literally the second that I put my phone in my pocket and looked away, 5 seconds later, one kid is reeling the pole in. He's snagged on something. The other kid's throwing rocks in the water. It immediately turns into chaos. And that's similar to our experience today. Once you go live with the tax system, your business changes. It's difficult to stay up to speed with those events and make sure that your configurations are up to date. And that's our goal with the new tax config agent. So if you want to go to the next screen here, what we've been able to do is implement an agent that is embedded in D365. In other words, it's built with Copilot Studio. It's looking at certain data triggers that we know tell us, hey, there's a need to update Vertex, right? So it's automatically going to be embedded with Microsoft in those activities. It's going to surface those requirement changes. We have an opportunity for human in the loop here. It'll interact with you via Teams or email, however you want to, but it's going to notify you, hey, there's new products that are being added, or you're adding new business locations, new legal entities. Are you aware of these, and do you want us to go ahead and update the Vertex configuration? So you can approve and reject those. Assuming you approve those, that communicates to our cloud agent for Vertex, which knows how to interpret that information and automatically execute those configuration changes within your Vertex environment, so that really saving you time on doing that and ensuring that we can be more proactive rather than reactive in our user experience. All right, next screen.
Absolutely. James, thank you so much. I really appreciate you leaning in on that and presenting that data. As we evolve as an organization, we think it's really important to make sure that we're not just evolving the technical aspect of the solution itself, but we're making sure we're making it more user-friendly, easier for our customers to identify where those challenges sit, so they're not waiting for month-end or quarter-end reconciliations in order to be able to find these things. These are going to bubble these up to the top immediately and really be able to ensure our clients are working smarter and not harder in some cases to be able to move this forward. And the last thing we wanted to cover before we get to questions is our marketplace offerings. We're super excited about this. As everyone knows, within the Microsoft world, there is no better way to highlight your solutions than to make sure they are on the Microsoft marketplaces. There are multiples, as most are aware. Today, we have 2 different solutions that sit in the Azure marketplace. Our flagship solution sits on Azure, and that is our O Series engine. And so the ability to streamline your direct sales tax is now available to procure that way. What it means more than anything is going through the process of getting a product to be listed in the marketplace is not just put it out there and allow it to be purchased or acquired. You go through a rather rigorous review process, making sure the product works, it's built on the right platform, it's tied to the latest development tools and resources, and that it integrates into the product and it works well. And so we're super excited to have not only our Azure solution for O Series, our flagship, but we've also now introduced the product of the configuration agent will also be available there. And so not only does that opportunity provide us a solution that our customers take advantage of, but for our partners that are interested in going deeper and wider, once the solution is implemented, we now have this configuration agent that allows them to go back into their customers to be able to support implementing this aspect of the solution into their ERP environment. And so excited to have this available for FSC for our client base. So with that, I'm going to kick this back over to Jess one more time to kind of talk through a little bit about, if you don't know so much about who we are, we'd like to kind of finish with this as opposed to start with it, because I think it goes through the depth of everything that we're capable of. So Jess?
Yeah, thanks, Deb. And hopefully, obviously our teams have been very busy, in 2025 with a lot of the new solutions and products that we've been bringing to market. Our goal is always that we want to meet our customers and partners where they are. So we're constantly looking to evolve our solutions and the way we go to market, the way you need us to be as partners, as your customers, those types of things. So hopefully you're seeing that from us. We don't see us slowing down at all for 2026. We've got a lot on the docket coming, so keep an eye on us for more. As we start to figure out what are the places we need to meet you at to bring the best solution possible to protect your organization from a compliance perspective. But if you haven't worked with us before, or you've only heard about us just a little bit, we have been in business for over 46 years at this point, focusing on indirect tax. And just to give you a little bit of an insight into who we are and who we serve, from that perspective, we are a publicly traded organization, which brings with it, like Deb was saying about the Microsoft solutions, it brings with it some additional eyes on our processes and the way we go to market internally, which I think only benefits our customers and partners. We're an organization of 1,600 strong, headquartered in the Philadelphia suburbs, but we are a global organization reaching the globe at kind of in every corner when it comes to that perspective. We've been notoriously known as an organization that really brings solutions that satisfy the needs of the Fortune 500. The reason we bring that up in this case is not to say that those are the only customers and the most important customers to us. It really kind of dictates what we have from a product perspective, because the largest and most scrutinized organizations in the world trust us with their tax needs, whether it be domestically or globally. And that only benefits customers in every facet of our business, whether you're a mid-market customer, a small business, or an emerging organization. What we are dictated to be bringing to market to ensure that those customers that are on the biggest stages in the world and being as scrutinized as a company could be are as protected as possible. That only benefits you in whatever facet of the business. We believe very strongly that we bring the best solution possible to market and allows you to grow into whatever the organization is going to be, whether you're going to stay here in the United States, grow globally, acquire new businesses. The solutions are really dedicated to be able to help with that. So I just want to mention that, we're an organization that's been tried and tested throughout the course of our 46 years. We focus on the customer at hand, so bringing the best product we can to market. And hopefully you can see that in a little bit of what we're showing you today in terms of our new solutions coming to market or ones that have already been brought to market. So that's a little bit about us. I think we're just rounding out here and maybe go to questions.
Yep.
Absolutely. So, yeah, we've got a couple of minutes left. If there are any questions, or if you're watching on demand, please feel free to put those in the chat or in the comment box.
I will tell you the first question. Craig will put lights on his tree at some point in the future. He's insured us that tree will be marked safe from
Just getting
that area.
I have lights, just no decorations.
Yeah, he's donations for if anybody would like to send him Christmas ornaments or holiday ornaments, he's accepting those as well to be able to decorate the tree. This is a all-inclusive type of relationship. We want to be able to love it, love it.
Craig's tree.
So, thank you for your presentation and for all of the different updates. I mean, taxes are one of those great certainties of the business world. So you want to have the best tools available. And as you've said, there's a little something for everyone in today's session with the e-invoicing, especially in Europe. The config agent to manage some of these complex and quite quickly changing times. Yeah, really fantastic to have you guys on as all. Yeah, as it says there, if you would like to find out a little bit more and go into more depth, do feel free to reach out. I believe that's to yourself, Jess.
Yes, please. I would love to hear from you. So we'll pull in the right resources and make sure that we bring the right folks to answer your questions. So do not hesitate to reach out.
Absolutely. And as Jess said before, I want to reiterate two things. First, as Jess mentioned, while the Fortune 500 is literally where we have grown our organization, cut our teeth, built our compliance, reduced risk for our clients, our pricing model very much ties to the size of the organization we're selling into. So our costing is tied to your revenue. So you may not be a Microsoft or a Google or an Amazon or an Apple, but if you are a mid-market or even an upper small business client, the pricing for our product gives you all of the necessary compliance product and all of the depth we've built into the product to support global agencies and global organizations at a price point that's modeled to be able to support your business with all of that history and all of that footprint. It's predictable. It's easy to build through a model of your total cost of ownership of understanding how that works. And so that's a big part of that tie back to how we play so well in the ecosystem with Microsoft. And if that's not enough, the fact that our new CEO comes with that Microsoft experience, he's also formerly CEO of McAfee. He's worked with Intel. He's worked with so many companies out there, albeit a very young man. We like to all say we started in this business when we were 3. That might have actually happened for him. But we're super excited. We're empowered. David DiStefano has led our organization for the last 19 years. He came on board originally as our CFO, moved over to our CEO 19 years ago, took us to a publicly traded company, brought us to over $500 million in business and growth, and evolved us into that nature. And he is going to take consciously a decision with he and his family. He's going to take a step back into retirement. I wish him nothing but the best. And he led the charge to find our new CEO. And I don't think he could have possibly landed on someone better to take us, into the next evolution of how we drive our business forward and really take the next step into looking at agentic solutions to drive every aspect of our business, not just the D365, which of course is closest to our hearts, but to take it to the next level and be able to support the business that way. So again, if you're interested in learning more about our tax solution, about our e-invoicing, about our agentic modeling, about how we're embracing AI throughout our organization, if you'd like to schedule a demo for yourselves and your organization or for one of your clients, or even explore opportunities to partner with us, please reach out to Jess. She is our lead on that side of the business. She works hand in hand with Craig to be able to support that. And James and I are here to support her. So again, I reiterate, we can't thank Seer enough for this opportunity to be able to be out there. Rufus, as always, thank you so much for leaning in. We really appreciate you.
Okay.
And for anybody heading to Convergence in the next week or so, we'll be there. We look forward to seeing everybody. And as always, we're at most of the Dynamics conferences throughout the year. If you haven't had a chance to come up and shake a hand and introduce yourself in person, please do so. And we look forward to the opportunity to work with you. So thanks, everybody. Have a great holiday season, and hopefully we'll talk to you before the end of the year. Bye, everyone.
Wonderful.